The afternoon sun poured through the lace curtains, casting a golden glow over my small bedroom. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the neatly folded dress in my hands. It wasn't just any dress. It was a pastel pink bridesmaid dress that belonged to my cousin, Sophie. I had promised her I'd return it clean, but now, holding it, I felt a thrill I couldn't quite explain. I'm Ryan, an ordinary guy in most respects, with a predictable 9-to-5 job at a local marketing firm. But beneath the surface, there's a part of me that's rarely seen. The part that loves experimenting with fashion, makeup, and all things feminine. I hadn't told anyone. Not my colleagues, not my friends, and certainly not my girlfriend, Emma. She knew me as a straight-laced guy who occasionally dabbled in fun outfits for parties, but she didn't know the depth of my secret passion. Emma was different from Sophie. Emma was understanding, adventurous, and had a sly way of teasing me. She loved seeing me in heels or makeup, sometimes joking that I should try modeling her clothes for fun. But I had never crossed the line into public exposure. Today, that line seemed closer than ever. Sophie's wedding was in 3 days, and I had agreed to help her out as a favor. Little did I know that this favor would pull me deeper into a world I'd only explored in private. The dress in my hands shimmered in the sunlight, soft satin that felt impossibly smooth, delicate lace that tickled my fingers. Holding it, I could already feel the transformation waiting to happen. I glanced at my reflection in the mirror across the room. My reflection stared back at me, short-cropped hair, broad shoulders, and the usual attire of button-down shirts and chinos. The image felt like a mask, a cover for the side of me that longed to be seen, admired, and free. I set the dress down carefully and ran my fingers over my face, imagining how it would look with light makeup, foundation to even out my skin, a hint of blush to bring color to my cheeks, and perhaps some eyeliner to make my eyes pop. Emma's voice floated from the living room, breaking my reverie. "Ryan, are you ready for your big debut as Sophie's right-hand assistant?" she teased, her tone playful. I blushed, heart racing at the thought of revealing this side of myself to her. I'm getting there," I muttered, trying to keep my voice steady. The truth was, I wasn't just getting there. Every fiber of my being wanted to step into that dress, to feel the silk against my skin, the heels on my feet, and to embrace the persona I had hidden for so long. I changed into the dress slowly, the sensation of the fabric against my arms sending shivers down my spine. The zipper clicked at my back, and I adjusted the hem, so it fell just right above my knees. Next came the heels, pink, strappy, and slightly too high for my comfort. My legs wobbled as I stood, but with each step toward the mirror, I felt more balanced, more confident. Emma watched me with a mischievous grin. "You look amazing," she said softly. Her words made my heart leap. This wasn't just a dress. It was a doorway into a world where I could be admired, desired, and free. The makeup was the final touch. Emma handed me a small kit, light foundation, blush, mascara, and a subtle pink lipstick. As I applied each product, I felt the transformation deepen. My reflection shifted from Ryan to someone entirely new, a bridesmaid, a vision of elegance and charm, and a side of me I hadn't dared to show before. Standing in the full outfit, I took a deep breath. The room felt smaller somehow, filled with the scent of perfume and the soft rustle of fabric. My heart raced with excitement and a twinge of fear. Sophie's wedding was approaching, and with it, the possibility of being seen, recognized, or even exposed. Yet a thrill pulsed through me, a blend of anticipation, desire, and adrenaline. Emma stepped closer, her hand brushing mine in a reassuring gesture. "Don't worry," she whispered. "No one will suspect a thing. Tonight, it's just us and the dress. Enjoy it. Feel it." I nodded, swallowing hard, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside me. The thrill of wearing the dress, the heels, and the makeup was intoxicating. But lurking beneath the excitement was a nagging fear. What if Sophie or anyone else discovered my secret? Could I maintain this identity in front of others? Or would I be forced to retreat back into the familiar, safe world of Ryan? The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the room. I glanced at the clock. Sophie's wedding preparations would begin soon, and with them, my debut as her bridesmaid. My reflection stared back at me, a perfect blend of elegance, vulnerability, and newfound confidence. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "This is it. No turning back now." As Emma adjusted my hair and offered one final approving nod, I realized that this was more than just a favor for my cousin. It was the beginning of a journey, one that would challenge my identity, test my courage, and pull me into situations I had only dreamed of in private. Little did I know, the path ahead would not be smooth. There would be close calls, unexpected obstacles, and moments of panic. But for now, in this quiet moment before the chaos of the wedding, I allowed myself to savor the feeling, the soft satin, the clack of heels, the thrill of transformation. I was no longer just Ryan. For the first time, I was fully embracing the part of me I had kept hidden for so long. And in that moment, as sunlight kissed the fabric of the dress and Emma's eyes sparkled with approval, I knew one thing for certain. My life was about to change forever. The next morning, I woke with a mix of excitement and anxiety. My body ached slightly from the unfamiliar heels, and yet, the memory of wearing the dress the night before lingered like a warm, intoxicating dream. Emma was already in the kitchen, humming softly as she prepared breakfast. "Morning, beautiful," she said with a teasing smile. "Ready for today's rehearsal?" Her tone made my stomach twist with nervous anticipation. I nodded, trying to appear casual, though my mind was racing. Today, I'd step further into this new identity. Sophie's bridesmaids would be arriving soon, and I had to blend in seamlessly, hiding the truth while embracing every thrilling detail of my transformation. As I sat at the breakfast table, I wrestled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, there was exhilaration. My secret side was no longer confined to my bedroom. I could see myself reflected in Emma's admiring eyes, feel the allure of high heels under my feet, and sense the soft fabric brushing against my skin. On the other hand, fear tugged at the edges of my mind. What if Sophie notices something off? What if someone comments on my legs or my posture? The anxiety was palpable. Every glance from Emma, every clatter of dishes, heightened my awareness of the precarious line I was walking. I realized that my excitement came bundled with vulnerability, a vulnerability that thrilled me but also terrified me. After breakfast, Emma helped me into the dress again. This time, the process felt ritualistic. Each adjustment of the hem, each placement of the corset, each step into the heels was a ceremony that transformed me from Ryan into someone entirely different. I stood in front of the mirror, tracing my reflection. The dress hugged my torso in all the right places, the fabric flowing over my hips gracefully. My makeup was subtle yet elegant, soft blush, a hint of eyeliner, and glossy pink lips. My hair had been styled into gentle waves, framing my face perfectly. "I think you're going to turn heads today," Emma whispered, adjusting a stray lock of hair. Her words sent a shiver down my spine. I felt powerful, feminine, and exposed all at once. The first wave of tension arrived as Sophie and the other bridesmaids entered the house. Their chatter filled the room, punctuated by laughter and exclamations about the wedding arrangements. My heart raced as I walked among them, heels clicking softly on the hardwood floors. I kept my head slightly lowered, trying to mirror their movements and blend in. "Ryan, you clean up nicely," Sophie exclaimed, her eyes wide with surprise. I froze momentarily, unsure how to respond. Was this shock, admiration, or suspicion? I forced a casual smile, letting the flutter in my chest go unnoticed. Emma stepped in smoothly, linking her arm with mine. "He's been helping me test some outfits," she said, her tone light and convincing. I nodded, grateful for her quick thinking. My relief was short-lived, however. Every glance from the bridesmaids, every whisper, felt like a potential trap. I realized that just being present in the dress and heels was a performance, a suspenseful dance where one misstep could reveal everything. As the day progressed, I found myself sinking deeper into the persona. Walking, talking, and even laughing in this new identity felt natural in a way that startled me. The thrill of transformation was intoxicating. But alongside this exhilaration, a nagging fear persisted. I couldn't shake the feeling that at any moment, someone might notice something unusual. My posture, the way I carried myself, or even the subtle differences in my voice. Despite the tension, I felt a growing sense of confidence. The dress, heels, and makeup weren't just disguises. They were extensions of a part of me that had been hidden for too long. I could feel the power of choice, of self-expression, of stepping into a version of myself that was vibrant, daring, and completely unapologetic. During a break in the rehearsal, I excused myself to the bathroom. As I checked my reflection, I realized the corset was slightly twisted, and one heel had a loose strap. Panic surged through me. If anyone noticed, it could draw attention, spark questions, and unravel the carefully constructed illusion. I adjusted the dress, tightened the strap, and took a deep breath. Each movement was deliberate, measured, a delicate balancing act between confidence and concealment. The suspense of being caught, even in small details, heightened my awareness and amplified the thrill. Back in the main room, the rehearsal continued. I moved carefully, aligning my steps with the other bridesmaids. Each laugh, each comment, each glance from Sophie or the other girls sent pulses of adrenaline racing through me. I realized that the risk, the potential of discovery, was an essential part of the excitement. Without it, the transformation would lose its edge. Emma noticed my unease and whispered, "Relax. You're doing amazing. Just enjoy it." Her reassurance helped, but I knew the real test would come later, when the wedding day arrived, and every guest would have eyes on me. Throughout the day, small details reinforced my dual life. A fallen heel, a stray lock of hair, or the soft brush of fabric against my arm became symbolic markers of my transformation. Each moment was both thrilling and nerve-wracking, a constant reminder that I was navigating a delicate balance between secrecy and exposure. By the end of the rehearsal, I had walked, talked, and even joked as the bridesmaid, fully immersed in the role. Yet, the fear of being discovered lingered, a shadow behind every smile. As the evening approached, Emma and I had a quiet moment alone. I looked at my reflection one last time before stepping into the next phase of this journey. The dress, heels, and makeup had become more than just fabric and color. They were extensions of my hidden self, manifestations of a desire I had kept locked away. Emma smiled, brushing her hand across mine. "No matter what happens tomorrow, you've embraced this side of yourself beautifully," she said softly. Her words filled me with a heady mix of pride, excitement, and anxiety. I was ready to face the wedding, but I knew that the real suspense, the close calls, the unexpected twists, was only just beginning. The morning of the wedding arrived with a mixture of sunlight and tension. My heart thumped in rhythm with the excitement and fear that coexisted like two halves of a storm. Emma had insisted I arrive early to help with last-minute preparations, and I was already dressed in the bridesmaid's gown, heels clicking softly as I navigated the bustling house. As I carried a tray of refreshments toward the living room, a voice stopped me in my tracks. "Ryan, is that you?" It was my cousin, Sophie's younger brother, Mark. He'd arrived unexpectedly, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. Panic shot through me. I hadn't rehearsed this encounter. Emma stepped beside me quickly, shielding my side. "Oh, he just got here. Come help with the decorations, Mark," she said, her tone calm but authoritative. I felt the weight of her support, but it wasn't enough to erase my anxiety. Mark's eyes flicked to my dress, then back to my face. "Wow, you clean up different." His voice carried curiosity, suspicion, and amusement all at once. I froze, unsure whether to respond or let Emma take over. I tried to maintain a casual smile, the heels biting into my feet with every step, the corset pressing firmly against my ribs. The pressure reminded me of the dual life I was living. On the outside, composed and feminine. On the inside, nervous and exposed. Every glance from Mark felt like a spotlight. I caught Emma subtly rubbing my hand under the table, a silent anchor amidst the storm. My chest tightened, and I realized that the thrill of transformation came hand in hand with vulnerability. One wrong move, one careless word, could reveal the secret I'd worked so hard to protect. As the bridal party rushed about, I found myself tasked with helping Sophie adjust her gown. The close physical proximity and delicate fabric demanded careful movements. Each brush of my hands against the silk felt electrifying, the sensation of being fully immersed in this feminine role thrilling and terrifying simultaneously. Meanwhile, whispers and giggles from other bridesmaids hinted at my new look. I could sense their curiosity, their admiration, and possibly even skepticism. I had to navigate every interaction with precision, balancing charm with discretion, laughter with poise. During a moment of chaos, I tripped slightly on my heel. The slip was minor, but it caused a small domino effect. A vase teetered, a ribbon fell, and all eyes turned toward me. My face flushed crimson.
"Oh,
"I've got it," I exclaimed, catching the vase just in time. The collective sigh of relief didn't mask the internal panic I felt. The slip, though minor, reminded me that every movement in these heels and this dress was a gamble. One misstep, and everything could unravel. Later, I retreated to a quiet hallway, catching my reflection in a large mirror. The person staring back at me was both familiar and alien. The dress accentuated curves I'd never embraced before, the makeup highlighted features I had only dreamed of flaunting, and the heels made me feel taller, elegant, commanding. I ran a hand over the fabric, feeling the soft silk and the structured corset beneath. A wave of emotion hit me: fear, exhilaration, longing, and pride all collided. This was more than cross-dressing, it was a revelation. The reflection in the mirror symbolized the duality of my life, Ryan and the secret, feminine version of myself. The ceremony began, and I followed the bridal party down the aisle. Each step felt like a test of my composure. Every smile I offered guests, every nod of acknowledgement, demanded perfect poise. Then, I heard a voice from the crowd. "Ryan? Is that really you?" My heart froze. It was my boss, who had unexpectedly been invited to the wedding. A flood of questions and panic washed over me. Emma, sensing my tension, squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Just relax," she whispered. "They'll think you're just being playful." I nodded, but internally, my nerves were taut as a wire. I was living on the edge, each interaction a potential revelation, each glance a potential disaster. By the reception, I had navigated conversations, photos, and dances without being exposed, mostly. The thrill of transformation now intermingled with the thrill of secrecy. I felt alive in ways I hadn't before, fully embracing this side of myself while constantly teetering on the edge of discovery. Yet, despite the success, there was a nagging thought. How long could I maintain this illusion? One misstep, one curious friend, one suspicious glance from Sophie, and everything could collapse. The tension was a delicious torment, fueling both fear and desire. Later, Sophie approached me with a smile. "You look amazing, honestly, like you were meant to be a bridesmaid." Her compliment, meant kindly, sent my pulse into overdrive. It was admiration mixed with recognition, a dangerous mix. I smiled, nodding, my hands trembling slightly beneath the fabric of my dress. Emma caught my eye and winked, silently reminding me that she was in my corner. The suspense had reached its peak. Every touch, glance, and word could tip the balance, and I knew the climax of my secret performance was imminent. As the night progressed, I found myself adjusting a fallen flower on my gown. My hands trembled slightly, not from fear of the fabric, but from the awareness of being entirely visible in this dual identity. The veil of secrecy felt thin, and I realized the symbolic weight of the dress, heels, and makeup. They were both armor and exposure, a tangible reminder of the persona I had embraced. Each sway of the dress, each click of my heels, became a heartbeat of suspense, echoing the precariousness of my situation. I was fully immersed in my transformation, aware that discovery could happen at any moment. As the evening wound down, Sophie prepared to give a toast. I stood nearby, poised and radiant, but my heart pounded with uncertainty. Would her words hint at my secret? Would someone notice the slight differences, the unfamiliar elegance, the heightened confidence? Emma squeezed my hand, a silent promise that we'd face whatever came next together. But the tension remained, a suspenseful undercurrent that suggested the climax wasn't over, that the revelation, the close call, was still lurking in the wings. The reception hall buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and music, but my mind was a whirlwind of nerves and exhilaration. Every step in my heels felt like a small gamble, each glance from a guest a potential threat. I moved carefully among the crowd, holding a tray of champagne, my dress swaying with every step, the corset pressing tight against my ribs, a constant reminder of the persona I now inhabited. I glanced at Emma, who smiled reassuringly from across the room. Her presence was my anchor, but it did little to calm the growing tension inside me. Sophie had begun her toast, her eyes sparkling with joy, and I had to inch closer to support her with the microphone. The closer I got, the more exposed I felt. This was the culmination of my secret, and it could all unravel in a second. As I adjusted the hem of my dress, my eyes caught movement near the entrance. A tall figure had entered, someone I hadn't anticipated. My stomach dropped. Recognition hit me like a punch. It was Mark, Sophie's brother, holding a camera in his hands. His grin was mischievous, almost predatory. My heart raced. He can't, I thought, but the fear was real. He had already seen me slip into this world once. What would happen if he shared it? Emma leaned in, whispering in my ear, "Stay calm. Just stay calm." Her words were a balm and a warning at the same time. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. My hands were steady on the tray, but my mind was racing, plotting ways to navigate the precarious situation. Mark's eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on me. For a heartbeat, everything froze. Then, slowly, he raised the camera, as if to take a picture. My heart stopped. I froze, my mind screaming for a solution. Should I run? Should I confront him? The music masked some of the tension, but I knew a photo could undo all my careful planning. Emma's hand found mine, gripping tightly. "Trust me," she whispered. She moved subtly, positioning herself between me and Mark, and offered a charming smile. Mark hesitated, lowering the camera slightly, and I felt a small surge of relief, but the tension didn't dissipate. I realized then that every action, every choice I made in this dress, heels, and makeup carried risk. This wasn't just about wearing clothes, it was about navigating a world where one wrong move could expose everything. I stepped back toward the table, passing a mirror that reflected my image. The person staring back wasn't entirely Ryan anymore. It was the elegant, poised bridesmaid everyone admired, yet the eyes behind the makeup were mine. Vulnerable, anxious, and exhilarated all at once. The mirror became a symbol of my dual life, the carefully curated exterior and the private reality. I ran my hand over the fabric of the dress, feeling the silk, the structure, the weight of the heels on my feet. This transformation was exhilarating, intoxicating even, but it was also a constant tightrope walk. The toast continued, Sophie's voice bright and celebratory, but I couldn't focus fully. My mind kept returning to Mark's camera, to the potential of being discovered, and to the way Emma's presence reassured and challenged me at the same time. Just as Sophie finished speaking, the unexpected happened. A hand touched my shoulder. I turned sharply, my heart in my throat. It was Sophie's best friend, laughing and oblivious to the tension in my chest. "You look amazing," she said brightly. "I've never seen you like this." My smile froze, half of me wanting to hide, half of me wanting to bask in the attention. The room felt suddenly smaller, my secret hanging in the air like a delicate thread. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw it, Mark raising the camera again, this time with a subtle, knowing smile. My pulse raced, my hands trembled slightly as I adjusted my hair. Emma's eyes met mine, a mixture of reassurance and playful warning. I realized the moment had arrived. Either I'd maintain my secret or be exposed in front of everyone. The music swelled, laughter echoed, and my reflection in the mirror caught my gaze one last time for the night. I was poised, glamorous, entirely transformed, but the suspense was unbearable. Would Mark take the photo? Would someone realize the truth? Could I maintain this balance, or would my secret finally unravel?